Hey everyone, welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about daily habits for healthy living. We'll share the things we've learned to do and the things we've learned not to do around morning and evening routines, diet and exercise, and mental and spiritual health. Let's get started. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Marie.
Hey, Mindy.
Hey, Marie.
It's great to see you guys.
Great to see you.
I'm excited about today's topic. I think I'm excited about every week's topic. We just have so many on Midlife Matters. But this is a topic that Mindy had suggested, healthy living. And there's so much to say on this. So we're going to kind of go at it from the direction of our normal everyday habits. And I think that those kinds of habits seem to dictate our days. How we feel stems so much from the daily choices we make. Today we're going to talk about the things we've learned to do and the things we've learned not to do in helping us truly thrive in our homes and environments. And listeners know that we are by no means experts. And you aren't going to see any of us on home or fitness magazine covers, but there are some things that we've picked up over the years that we thought we could share.
Don't we say that a lot?
Yeah.
We're not experts?
We're not experts.
We do, yes. And don't you guys find that sometimes when you hear advice from an expert, you're like, that sounds good in theory, but in real life, in a real home, with real people, I don't know if I could really make that work. So that's why I find that getting advice from my friends, which is what we hope we are to all of you listeners, is sometimes the best way.
Right. Those like normal everyday conversations. I think I have trust issues, when some fitness guru is trying to sell me something. And I always think, do you actually use this product, or do you actually do that? I don't think I really trust them. I trust my friend though.
Right. Well,
Right.
And she's going to tell you if it's just collecting dust in the corner of her bedroom or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, or if it's a proven thing,
Right.
It's tried and tested.
Right. We're going to be talking about some of the routines in our homes, some of the things that we do for diet, some of the things we do for exercise. And healthy living encompasses a wide variety of things, even like how you relax and how you have fun. So we have a lot to get to today. But to start us off, we're going to talk briefly about our morning routines. And I wish that I could say that I had a morning, in quote, routine. I feel like I kind of do in the summer, but I don't know about you guys. I sort of feel like that alarm clock goes off with the kids, and the getting ready for school dictates my morning.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the school dictating my morning still. But there are some things that I do every single morning. And that's just so that I'm ready for my day, because once they're out the door, I don't like to scramble. So basically, I never set an alarm. I know that's very odd, but it puts me in a bad mood. So I do not set an alarm. Typically wake up about the same time anyway, that natural body clock, about 6:30. So I make sure I'm mostly ready before I even go down the stairs, so that when I get downstairs, I'm ready for whatever anybody needs. And so then over the next hour and a half, I'm making breakfast and taking 2 different boys to the bus stop and drinking a cup of coffee. But there is something that I do every morning that I start with drinking a big cup of water. So like as soon as I get out of bed, as I'm getting ready, I have this very large cup of water that I've carried up to the room the night before. And I drink that before I drink any coffee. And I think that actually helps me wake up the most.
That's a great idea, because I know coffee is dehydrating anyway. And I feel like sometimes I go out the door and that's all I've had to drink.
Oh,
Yeah. Mindy, I'm just listening with envy that you have an hour and a half to get your kids ready for school. I set my alarm for 6:20 and we have to walk out the door at 6:50.
Okay.
So it's like I get out of bed, I put my workout clothes on immediately, because after I drop the kids off at school, I go right to the Y.
Perfect.
And so I don't have any time for any kind of routine other than get dressed, get lunches, tell people to get their backpacks.
Yeah.
Come on, herd them on into the car.
Well, are you driving them to school this year?
I drive them to school, yes, because our bus comes at 6:40, and I know that doesn't sound like a big. It actually comes at 6:37,
That's
and I know
early.
that doesn't sound like a big deal. They probably gain about 15 minutes with me driving them, but at that time of the morning, 15 minutes is like an hour. And also, it really makes me work out on a regular basis because I have to pass the Y to come back home. So there's no driving by for me. I just pull in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm blessed to use the school bus system. And so that gives me that flexibility. So I'm curious about Julie since she's not on a school schedule.
Well, when we talk about our other habits, mine might be quite depressing, but for this one, y'all are going to be jealous.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I wake up every morning around 7 or 8 if I want to.
Oh my
to my
goodness.
alarm on my phone set to twinkle. It is the best decision I've ever made because John's it's so happy. It's this little bell melody. It's just very soft and you just gradually wake up. John's alarm sounds like an ocean liner leaving port. It is so loud and it's just so annoying. But mine makes me happy. I have to let Charlie out. He sleeps in our room in a kennel, and I have to immediately let him outside. And on my way out, I turn on my electric kettle to boil my water, come back in and make my coffee. I've kind of gotten into coffee, so I make it with a French press or a Chemex because I only need to make 1 cup. So I put my coffee pot up in the cabinet and just make my 1 cup because that's all I need.
Yeah.
And then about 7 or 8 months of the year, April through November, I head directly out onto my back porch with my coffee and my breakfast. And I can stay there till noon in my PJs if I don't have somewhere to be. You know, like then there are many
picking my jaw up off the floor.
You'll get there, ladies. You'll get there. But I can study my Bible, pray. I can read books. I can listen to podcasts. Everything I need, I just keep out there on that table.
Right.
And if I have that opportunity, I usually take it. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, who could blame you?
No kidding. No kidding. I'm glad you brought up the 1 cup of coffee thing, Julie, because I did notice that if I allowed myself to have more coffee, it was just I didn't feel very good. Like I thought that it would wake me up more or make me feel better. But all it does is make me go to the bathroom that many more times through my exercise class that I'll go to later in the morning.
Let's take a look at exercise. For a lot of us, that kind of naturally transitions in the morning. I know that I had mentioned before that I stop at the Y on the way home. Julie, I know that you exercise a lot in the morning. Mindy, is that when you typically exercise?
Yes. Each morning, I like to do something. So I have classes that I go to at the Y 4 mornings a week. And then 1 morning a week, I set aside that I am not rushing off to the Y. I don't like to always be leaving my home, but I'll try to go for a long walk. Lately, I've been going to Valley Forge. There's like a 5-mile loop around Valley Forge, and it's just gorgeous. I listen to podcasts, I pray, and I just really need to be by myself sometimes and not be in a class. So I try to mix it up.
That is so funny, Mindy, because for years, like my husband, he would work out 7 days a week if he could.
Okay.
He can't a lot of times because of his schedule. But if we're both home, he'll say, "Are you going to the Y today?" And I'll say, "No, it's my day off." Like I intentionally set days off. I go to the Y Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I walk at home on Tuesday or Thursday, but not both. Just like you, I will give myself 1 total day off from exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to have to do that every single day. And it feels like such a treat to not.
It's true.
And with strength training, you're
rest.
really not. Yeah, you're not supposed to do it every day if you're tiring your muscles out to exhaustion.
If you're doing it right. No.
Yes, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I lift my weights. But I don't do cardio even every day of the week because I just want some days that are mine.
It's true. Otherwise, exercise becomes something you have to do. It becomes mundane. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm burdened by it. I want to enjoy going. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm like, it's gorgeous outside, I'm typically going to the Y, but no, I'm staying home today. I'm going to do some free weights at home and go for a walk.
Right. And I would encourage anyone, Julie and we have walked together just 1 day a week. And I always know, well, that's at least 1 day that I'm walking with someone. And then I have another friend who we don't walk as regularly because our schedules don't often gel, but we'll often walk on one of those Tuesdays or Thursdays, maybe every couple weeks. And I think sometimes knowing that you're going to get friend time and exercise time together is really motivating.
Oh, yeah. I don't walk unless I walk with you, unless it's just a stroll in the evening with the dog or, it's not cardio event.
Mhm.
Right.
So how good are you guys? I know you exercise, but how good are you guys about going to the doctor regularly for all those checkups?
Should we go youngest to oldest,
Well,
oldest to youngest?
I have more doctor visits to get in than y'all do.
Well, how good are you about getting them in?
Yes.
Well, I'm pretty good with getting my annual exam and my mammograms, but I'll tell you, I've let the ball drop on the whole colonoscopy thing because once you're 50, you're supposed to have one. And I just dread it so much. I just keep putting it off. I have a lot of great excuses, but we have just met our deductible, so I have to get it in before the end of the year.
That is so motivating, Julie. You need to go and make that appointment.
Yes, I know I do. I just dread it. I used to try to make all my appointments in my birthday month so I would remember it. And then I thought, what am I doing? I'm ruining my birthday month.
Yeah, you are. That's horrible birthday month.
Yeah. I don't know. I've gone back and forth. Should I make them all in 1 month? But there's GYN, mammo, an internist visit, eye exam, colonoscopy. Like that would really ruin a month. So I just think I'll spread them out.
Yeah. I'm pretty good about keeping up, definitely, with going to the gynecologist and getting my mammogram. I probably go for my annual physical once every 18 to 24 months, which I don't feel like is horrible. And I am pretty good about going to the dentist. I definitely go twice a year because...
Oh, I forgot that one.
Yeah. And let's see, what else would there be? I really want to get to the dermatologist. I probably haven't been for myself. Of course, I take my kids on a regular basis because they've always got something they're needing. I probably haven't been for myself in over 5 years. And I just feel like every time I hear a horror story about skin cancer, I'm like, oh, I haven't made my skin check appointment. I get very panicky about going to the doctor, though. If I hear like a bad story about someone, then I feel like I'm going to have a bad experience. I get seriously just a bundle of nerves, whether it's just my annual checkup and there's absolutely nothing wrong and there's no need to fear. I just feel like they're going to tell me something terrible. Like I just hate going to the doctor and I don't know what it stems from.
Yeah. I always think today I could walk in thinking everything's fine and I could walk out and my life could be totally different. I don't like that in just a moment, how things could be different, you know?
Right. Well, Mindy, are you good about going to the doctor?
I am. It is one of those necessary things that I dread as well. Also because I'm always trying to work it around working out. And so then I think, well, I'm going to have to shower because now I have to go someplace nice. Like I can't walk in all nastified, you know?
Right.
So sometimes it's more that I have to shower in the middle of the day than going to the doctor.
Yeah, that's your dread. All right, well, let's move on from physical health here. But I think naturally with exercise, I think it just lends itself into going into diet. What do you guys do about food? Healthy living obviously includes food choices. And nowadays you hear so many different types of diets you can be on. So what do you guys do in your daily choices?
Well, I don't follow any special diet. In other words, there's no specific foods that are off limits for me. I just try to eat in moderation. And I've been doing this for about 5 years. And when I was initially trying to lose weight, I used the app called MyFitnessPal, and I just tried to enter my food and balance my, calorie intake with the calorie burn. And I did that for so long that I have pretty much all the calorie counts for my foods memorized. So I can just kind of keep it in my head right now,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But so that's what I do. I don't worry too much about the types of food I eat. I mean, I try to choose healthy choices, vegetables and fiber and protein and not a lot of fat. But for me, it's about portion control.
Right.
When we eat out, John and I always share a meal. And if I'm alone, I'll try to cut my meal in half and save the rest for later. Or I order off the kids' menu a lot.
That's a good hack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if they let me, I thought I'm not trying to be cheap. I just don't want all this food. I'm paying less, but I'm getting less. That's all I want. So most places will let you do it. So
right. Gosh, that sounds very similar to what I do. If you've listened to my story in the past, I have cut out carbohydrates for a long period of time to lose weight. It was just not a healthy choice. And you could listen to that previous episode if you would like to. I'm not sure which one it is.
I can't remember what it is, but it's entitled "I Lost 60 Pounds Twice," and it was earlier this year. But I'll definitely put a link to it in the show notes.
So the reason I'm more balanced is because I've lost weight the wrong way and I've lost weight the right way. So like Julie, I would just call my diet balanced. It's a balanced approach. And also like Julie, I used my Fitness Pal to lose weight. And honestly, I still use it because it helps me maintain. I think it's just like muscle memory. Like it's like a game for me on my phone. I'm like, okay, how many points do I have left?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there's something motivating for me to even put in my exercise. I'm like, wow, it says I burned this many calories or whatever. For me, I am balanced. There's not any food groups that I've cut out. I struggle with, snackiness. I love to have a bowl or two of Cocoa Puffs.
That's your downfall, Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs. And then when I'm needing salt, I think I go to Goldfish. That's,
That's a typical mom answer.
Something my trainer suggested when you're having a snack like that's in a bag.
Yes.
An open bag is so dangerous because you just keep reaching in and reaching in.
So I shouldn't hold the whole box?
No.
Like the
so
family
she
size?
pulls out a portion into a bowl and then knows that's it for me. And that's really helpful, like for chips, okay, I could have 14 chips and that's 140 calories or whatever, because otherwise if the bag's there, I'm probably just going to keep going until they're gone.
That's true, Julie. So true.
Yeah, I would say I'm similar to you guys. I don't deny myself any particular food. I feel like I eat a lot of the same things every day just because I am at home. I am the one doing the grocery shopping. And I think after years and years, you don't get that adventurous. But it's not because I can only eat certain things. It's just because those are the things that I make and have on hand. But I do agree with you. I really think that portion control, for so long, I think people thought that you could exercise your way out of a bad diet, and you can't. What you really need to do is say, I'm not going to deny myself any one food. I'm going to have a reasonable amount of it. Because I know when I deny myself something, I usually end up coming back to it later and eating way more than I would have eaten if I had just taken a reasonable amount in the beginning.
You are so right. If you're craving something, eat it. But like you said, with a good portion control.
Right. And I always say, sit down. Whether it's 6 chips in a bowl, sit down and make it an event sort of in your mind. Yes, savor it. If I eat standing up, I don't enjoy it. I tend to eat more. It's not satisfying. Like I go out of the kitchen onto the couch and lay down and savor those 6 chips,
Right. I know I had to stop eating in the minivan on the way to and from places, especially when you're carting your kids around a lot. It's easy to do that, but I want to enjoy my food and I'm not really enjoying it if I'm driving and, picking up kids and stuff like that. So I like that you said that, Marie, to savor it, think about it, give it its proper place and time. So, you ate it, you remember it.
Right. This is kind of funny that may be a little different in our house, but one time I saw my daughter, my oldest, put on her Instagram a poll, do you eat dessert every day? And apparently her husband doesn't, and she does. And ours is a house where we have dessert with every meal, lunch and dinner. Right. There's going to be something. It's never like big, but there's going to be something that we have for dessert. Like that's the best part of the meal for me. What about you guys? Are you guys dessert families?
Now, when you say dessert, I don't picture you making a cheesecake or a cake.
No, it's like I might have 3 Dove chocolates, or I might have, a chocolate healthy choice bar, or I might have 1 brownie or 2 cookies. Like,
Yeah, that's how we are. I just have to have. I like a lot of variety. I hate to just eat a lot of one thing.
Right.
So after my meal, I love to have, I might have a fudgesicle or some ginger snaps and hot tea or popcorn or there's always going to be some little treat afterwards.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And every day my kids take dessert in their lunch to school. And they said not everybody brings a dessert every day. And I thought, oh.
And that's funny because I consider you guys such a healthy family. So that is funny.
Well, I think, if she was making a cheesecake or a pie or a cake, that's going to be way too much. But when it's kind of in individual portions,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's just better for you.
I think you're supposed to have a little something sweet to end the meal. Otherwise, the meal's not done. You just keep eating.
Right.
Right.
All right, well, let's move into home. Healthy living begins and ends in the home. So what are some habits or routines that you have in place that contribute to your mental or physical health around your house? One thing I do, and it kind of goes along with diet, for my mental and physical health, I take a lunch hour.
Okay.
If I'm at home, I like a lunch hour. Like even on Sundays, the kids know I'm going to come home, I'm going to eat lunch, and I don't want anyone to talk to me for an hour. I want the freedom to eat my lunch. Then I want to be able to lay on the couch and read or play on my phone or fall asleep for 10 minutes. Like I like a lunch hour. Now, am I able to do that every day of my life? No, but if I can, I don't feel guilty about taking it. And that helps my mental and physical health.
I love that so much because, again, you're savoring your food and it gives you a break between the morning and the afternoon and evening.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of a nice little siesta.
Well, I think when you're at home a lot, your work would never end. There's no
True.
time clock or, so I think you have to build up some kinds of routines for yourself to say, it's okay for me to not do anything productive right now.
Right.
This is my time.
Yeah.
Well, I have to think like my main routines when I started thinking about that, the things that popped in my mind were the things that happen all the time in a home with a lot of people. So the first thing I do, the very first thing in the morning that I didn't mention earlier is I make my bed. Our bedroom in this new house is upstairs. I don't pass by it every day. I don't see it till I typically go to bed at night. But there's something very satisfying and fulfilling about seeing all my pretty pillows and everything is just in its place. And that's the very first thing I do. I don't go to the bathroom first. I make my bed first.
Oh, wow.
So the other things is I think about like dishes and laundry and constant clutter on the kitchen counters. And so I feel successful if the kitchen counters are wiped down and dishes are taken care of. And unfortunately, I start to slack off a little bit when it comes to getting the laundry washed, dried, folded, and put away all in the same day or sometimes week, if I could be totally honest.
Uh-huh.
So the dishes, I constantly load and have taught my kids to constantly load the dishwasher when they have eaten something. They're still not the greatest at wiping up the table after themselves, but we're working on it. Every night I start the dishwasher before I go to bed. And my son, Jacob, it's his chore to empty the dishwasher every morning. And then at night, I just feel like I have to wipe down the counters so that when I wake up and I come into the kitchen in the morning, it's clean. It's ready.
I never go to bed with not having loaded the dishwasher and started it.
Right.
Because one, with a large family, if you don't get the dishes clean the night before, you're not going to have enough to make it through the next day. And that's
true.
Hugely frustrating. But yes, I definitely think I take care of the kitchen and then every night I sweep the whole downstairs.
Wow.
And I know well, we don't have a huge downstairs, but I need to get that kitchen swept. I sweep the hallway that we all use over and over again. I sweep the downstairs bathroom and the staircase because I feel like those are the areas that collect the most during the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Mine gets swept maybe once a week. And I'm okay with that.
I think everybody has their pet peeves. What are some of your things that you must get done, Julie?
Well, back at the beginning of the year when we talked about things we wanted to try to do this year or try this year, I said I wanted to establish a routine where I did the same things on the same days every day, every week.
Oh, yeah.
And that just did not happen.
Okay.
And I feel like I don't have a good routine. I have my morning routine, but just not my daily task. I just feel like I do things as they pop up. And maybe because things aren't as messy anymore, our laundry basket takes a week or more to fill up. So it's just kind of like, oh, we need laundry. I'll throw in a load, But the things that I really like to keep clean are the kitchen area. And when I know things are too messy, it's when things are out of place. I feel like the surfaces in our kitchen, like the island and the table, are meant to eat on and work on, not to store things. And when they start storing things there, or I start to see stuff being stored on the dining room table and in the dining room chairs, I know it's time to pick up. I will start bringing everything that's out of place and just put it on the kitchen table, like out of the cubbies, off the hangers in the pantry, in the mudroom. This is how I clean up my car too. I bring it all in and sort it. And then I say, okay, this goes into this closet. This goes upstairs. This is in David's room. And I just put it all back in. That's how I feel. I just don't like things out of place.
Right.
So I don't clean that much anymore. I just neaten up.
Right.
I think everybody has like different areas where they can't stand it anymore. It was okay. And then there was the one more item placed on the dining room, and now we're cleaning.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I know. I was just thinking like the pillows on my couch in the living room. Every single night, people are on the couches and they'll pull out blankets. And we love to have blankets on our couches and our pillows. Okay. But do they put them back? No. So one of the first things I do, and honestly, sometimes I'll do it at night, but it's not like the kitchen where I have to do it at night. So in the morning, I fluff pillows and I fold blankets back up.
And that's very satisfying.
Yeah. It is. I love to fluff the pillows and fold the blankets. And I like that they get all messed up again every night. Like it's constant.
Yeah, I like to do that. After a movie night, I fold up all the blankets, put them in the basket.
Well, how about TV? Do you guys feel like you have any excessive TV watching in your home?
No, I wish we watched more TV.
You do?
Well, because I hear about all these shows people are watching, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that. I don't even know what you're talking about.
That's a great answer.
And I don't really like to watch it by myself. So I'm always waiting for people, and it's like, oh, I'll be there in a minute, or they fall asleep. Won't mention any names. And so
that's really funny, Julie, because I never turn the TV on when I'm home. But at night, I'm like you. I want to sit down with other people and watch it.
Okay, this is a guilty pleasure for me because in a house full of boys, nobody really enjoys my Hallmark movies. And it's not all the time. Most of the time I'm running and kind of busy, but it's like every once in a while during the day, I tell myself, and I'll plan for it, I need to just eat my lunch and watch a movie during the day. And it's something that the family won't care about. And I love it. I enjoy it. But I can't do it all the time.
I'm going to have to start doing that because I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. And all these shows are passing me by.
Well, at night, my boys enjoy to watch reruns of Monk. And so we have them all DVR'd as the reruns play on Hallmark. And so we love nothing more as a family than to about like 7:30, 7:45, the boys have had their shower, and Bryce and I love to sit on the couch with the boys and watch Monk together. Yeah. So that's a nice calm night for us if we've all come in and we all enjoy that. And then we're all ready to kind of be done with the day.
Yeah,
so
that's a fun routine to be in. I miss those days.
Right. I enjoy doing that in the evening too, Mindy, if we can all sit down and watch something. So what is your evening routine? Like what time do your evenings start and what do you try to include in them?
Since we have moved to Pennsylvania, this is the first job Bryce has ever had that he's somewhat consistent coming home in the evenings. And so we actually have dinner together every night. I can't say that we have ever had dinner together every night like this before.
Wow.
So we have dinner together between 5:30 and 6 every single evening. The boys kind of have sports practices and things like that. But for the most part, it's homework for the boys. It's any errands that need to be done. I like to sit on my back deck right now. I posted on my Insta story how beautiful the fall weather is here in Pennsylvania, and it is just perfect outside. So sometimes I'll have an evening cup of coffee on the back deck, but Bryce and I have tried to get up. We feel like we're wasting the day if we just sit down when he gets home from work and we stay on the couch the rest of the night. We don't feel so good when we do that. So we have started incorporating an evening walk together. So our kids are old enough that we can just go out on our own and we just stroll. We're not trying to exercise. We don't get our heart rates up. It's just for us to kind of let the day fall off. We talk about the day. We talk about other things. We walk around our yard. I've talked about how we enjoy doing that.
Now I'm jealous of your evening routine.
Oh, nice.
I've got the morning one down, but I don't have
do. Yeah.
Well, what time does your evening end, Mindy? Like, what time do you guys typically go to bed and shut things down?
So 8:30, we put the boys to bed, pray over them. Bryce and I have a little time if we want to talk, but typically Bryce is going to bed by 9, and I like to stay up till 10. So my bedtime's 10 o'clock.
Now, I know Grant is probably not going to bed at 8:30.
No, actually, that's funny you brought that up because I really struggle with Grant. He works late some evenings when he closes down at Chick-fil-A. He doesn't get home till 11. And so that does throw me off. I do feel so tired, but I do like to wait up for him. That's when I have a hard time not snacking because I'm trying to stay awake for him. So I'm actually still trying to figure out, can I read? Like, what can I do that...
Right. Yeah. I think when those teenagers are out or even just not ready to go to bed, it kind of throws us off a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, my evening routine is really stinking right now. I told Julie because she was telling me. And so just in all honesty, like, I don't know if there's anyone out there listening who feels like during sports season, you just can't get a handle on a good evening routine. Like, no matter how many times you plan it or think, oh, well, I've made dinner ahead of time and I'm so well prepared for them to come home and we're going to have a great evening, it just deteriorates. Like, an example, our evening last night, they come home off the bus at 3:30. They want to leave. I have to drive them to lacrosse at 4. They start practice at 4:30. I pick them back up at 6. By the time we're home at 6:30, we were having grilled cheese and soup, so that's not possible to really have ahead of time, or else the grilled cheese would be a rock. So they have to take a shower while I make dinner. By the time they finish dinner, it's like 7:30. Now they're showered, dinner's done, but then they have a lot of homework. And it's not like they just go off and do their homework. I don't know if other people can relate, but it's like, oh, I have so much homework. And, there's whining, there's complaining, there's, can you help me? I just cannot do this assignment. If you don't help me, I will never, ever, ever finish this assignment. There's just, and it's like 10 o'clock and all we've managed to do is sports and homework, and every interaction has felt stressful. And so then they finally go to bed at like 10:30, and then I stay up way too late until 11:30, just trying to calm back down, get my head on straight. And then I know at 6:20, my alarm's going off again. So I would say that, like, maybe in the summer or like in that time period, like between November and the end of January where there's no sports, but I just feel like I cannot get a handle. And with Steve traveling a lot, I'm the only person fielding all these things. So it feels very much like a failure by the time I go to bed at 11:30.
Oh, Marie, like you are in such a, like, just a survival season. And with your kids, the ages that they are, because my boys, we have a 4-year gap between Grant and Jacob. And so for my 8th and 6th grader, they're the ones that are with me most of the time. Grant's taking care of himself. And so he's not pulling a lot on me, but there's not as much homework in 6th and 8th grade as what your teens have right now. And like my 6th and 8th grade, their sports practices are right after school. I'm still able to get them home before 5 o'clock. So sometimes you just have to survive. Like,
that's how I feel it is probably right now. But it's discouraging too, because, you look at your high schoolers and you think, oh, I only have, 2 or 3 years left with these certain ones, and I don't want to spend my evening like that. But on the other hand, it's hard to deny them sports that they obviously age appropriately want to do, social time with their friends. They need to do their homework. Like, these are not bad things. It's a juggling act, and I just haven't put my finger on what's the right thing to do.
Well, and them driving next year will change a lot.
Yes, when they can drive themselves, that will also help. Then I'll probably be crying that I don't have enough running around. So I hate to wish the year away. I don't wish it away, but I would just like to have a few pleasant interactions So,
Yeah.
to end the day with, that would be nice,
And maybe they'll get like a study hall in their schedule. I know that that's something that Grant, as a senior this year, has made a big difference. He has a couple of study halls in his schedule during the week. So it helps relieve the homework since he has football every day and then Chick-fil-A, certain nights of the week. But yeah, the driving will help because you could actually make dinner while they're driving themselves home,
That is true. Yes. Julie, bring us up. Like, what does the evening look like when you don't have to run around?
Oh no, this is while my morning routine was enviable. This is not so much.
Okay.
In fact, if I share too much about it, I might leave everyone really depressed, thinking they have nothing to look forward to in midlife. I prepare. I can't even say I cook most of the time. An okay meal that I have to eat alone because my husband's schedule. He gets home 6:30 to 7ish, which is I just can't wait that late, and he has not been feeling really great for the past 2 months, and he is getting better, but he hasn't really had much of an appetite. So, dinner might be cereal or dinner would be leftovers or something. And he'll come home, fall asleep on the couch in front of the TV. Can't really blame him because he's really working harder than he ever has in his career at a time when he really should be slowing down. So it's really frustrating. And, it's 158 degrees outside right now. Right. So there's no evening walks or bike rides. It's just too hot. Okay. So I hope, in the fall that maybe we can take a stroll, nothing, super cardio, just a stroll, just a time to talk and maybe walk the dog. And David lives at home, but he's really busy with his studies and he's kind of at a point where he doesn't want to hang out with us much anymore. And we used to say, hey, it's a weeknight. If your studies are done, what movie are we going to watch? Right. And we pick out something. Of course, it was never my pick. It was always a war movie or something. But, I like those movies too. So I would, join in. Like every winter we watch the Band of Brothers series, which I love. And every winter we rewatch the Bourne movies or some James Bond movies or the Rocky movies. We're looking forward to the new Jack Ryan series, starts in November. So I'm hoping that when it does get darker earlier and nighttime starts a little earlier, that we'll be able to kind of settle into some of that because I miss that.
But I also know that you're involved in a book club. You teach ESL one night a week. You do get out and do things. I mean, you host a college Bible study in your home one night a week. Like there is more than just John falling asleep on the couch.
Oh, no, I'm doing those things. He's still falling asleep on the couch.
Okay.
I just have to escape every once in a while. No, I guess that shows you that I just like to be doing. I'm a doer. I like to be busy. I like to be active. And so my tolerance for evenings like that is low. 1 or 2 is enough for me. Mm-hmm. And it, book clubs once a month. It's not like,
right.
I can have 2 or 3 nights in a row like this. And that is way too much for me.
Yes. Well, listeners, you may have caught us on a bad week when we recorded this, that we haven't been having the best evening routines, but make Mindy your goal because it sounds like she's got evening routine down pat.
Yeah, pick my morning routine, Marie's lunch break, and Mindy's evening.
Hey,
we've got you covered.
Like a great day. That's right.
Together, we can have a great day.
All right. Well, you guys, let's move on to spiritual health because we do feel like that is a part of being healthy. And many people find that devoting some time each day or week to spiritual matters helps them to stay healthy. So what do you guys do that enriches you spiritually?
I'll start with this one. I start out my day, like I said, on my porch most of the time, start out reading my devotional. Right now, I happen to be going through the Oswald Chambers, My Utmost for His Highest. Mm-hmm. I've done that for years. And recently, I just started a new prayer book called The 1 Year Praying Through the Bible. It's one of those Praying Through the Bible series for your kids by Nancy Guthrie. Oh. And I was driving in the morning somewhere listening to that Family Life Today radio show. Mm-hmm. And Nancy Guthrie was the guest. And she said 2 things that really stuck with me. She said she realized she was worrying more than she was praying. And that so many times parents' prayers only revolve around us asking God to change their child's circumstances. But by praying through the scriptures, it keeps us asking God to do things in their lives that only He can do. And I thought, what better way instead of just to selfishly pray for protection and, just to kind of smooth everything over. That's what we as parents want. But to really seek what God might be wanting to do through them and in them.
That sounds like a really good book.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of an advertiser's dream because I pulled my car over right then and got on the Family Life Today to see who the author was. And I ordered it right then.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm easily persuaded. It's really helped me to feel like I need to step out of the way and ask God to work in his way.
Right.
And I've mentioned that before, that my mom prays for me daily. And it just means so much knowing that she's probably the only one in the world doing that for me every day. And so I want to do that for my kids. And that book has been great. I will put that in the show notes because I like it because it's not just geared toward little kids. Like it would really fit a child of any age, even adult children.
All right. I have a clarifying question, Julie. So do you sit and pray like in a specific spot? Like, do you set aside that time to pray for your children? Do you do it at different times during the day? Like, how do you handle this prayer?
Well, I try to pray every morning. I have gone through times where I've kept a journal and written them down. And then so I can see like, I can look back and say, I remember when I was praying about that for my kid and look how God answered that or how they've changed or how this situation worked out. I don't always do that, but I do go through seasons when I do that. And of course, I pray all throughout the day if a need arises, but I like to know that every morning I'm going to commit to lifting up someone. It may not be all three kids. It may just be one, or it may be my husband, or it may be my mom, or a friend. It can get overwhelming if you feel like you have to do everything every day.
Right.
On the subject of prayer, I find that if I write my prayer down, I feel like, there, God, I said it, and I can stop saying it over and over again in my mind. If I don't write my prayer down, I'll keep asking or petitioning for the same thing over and over. So I don't just have like one time a day that I sit down and pray, but I do have this app on my phone. It's called Notebook, and it has a password that nobody in my family knows, so that if I die, they cannot get on and read all my prayers. But I can go back years and see on dates, and I don't pray in here every day, but like if I'm waiting for my girls at lacrosse and there is something bothering me, I will open up that app and write down all my feelings. And then I feel like I've prayed about that. Or if I'm in the doctor's waiting room, or if I'm in the line at grocery store, or, like I feel like I pray at those types of times, little times during my day, more than if I just like sat down and said, this is my prayer time, because my mind starts to wander if I'm just going to sit there and pray. But if I'm writing it down, all of a sudden I'm very focused and I can look back and I can say, well, I already talked about that.
Right. Yeah. I've heard people say if you're having trouble sleeping because you're worrying about something, keep a notebook by your bed, write that down. It's like you're getting it out of your mind. You're letting it go. Like I have dealt with this.
I love that. I pray all throughout the day. I feel like there's things I go to bed at night and I lay my head down on my pillow and I pray at that time. I pray first thing in the morning. I do think there's so much power in prayer. And then I like what you said, Maria, about being able to let something go instead of carrying the burden in my clenched fists. It's like I, through prayer, am releasing, and like the Lord is prying my fingers open of the things that I thought I could control as I give those over to him. I'll go for prayer walks, and I specifically plan to be alone during those times. And I won't come home until I'm finished, until my hands are open. I've allowed the Lord to take every burden, every person, every worry, anxiety. But I did have to train my mind that if the worry starts to seep back in, to pray and let it go again. If the anxiety starts to seep back in, pray and let it go again. But I really like what you said about writing it down. Something that's helped me is I'm trying to read through the Bible this year. So on my Bible app, it will read to you.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm doing the chronological Bible through the year because I wanted to listen to it differently. And so in the morning, as I'm drinking water and getting ready, I'm listening to that day's Bible reading. So that has been very enjoyable to start my day. It's made a huge difference in my attitude and it's been fascinating. But I also like to have the time that Julie mentioned where I'm sitting with my physical Bible open and I'm reading and I'm studying scripture. I don't have as many mornings where I just do that though.
Right, right. Yeah, for people that are listening, there are so many different ways that you can meet with God. You can be going through a study. You can just be reading your Bible on your own. You can be listening to a podcast that's a sermon that's really speaking into your life. Julie meets with her friend one day a week to discuss a sermon podcast that they listen to.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. I started listening to, I've mentioned this podcast several times called Exploring My Strange Bible by Tim Mackey.
Yes.
Who is the creator of the Bible Project. You might know him through that. So this summer, I started meeting with a friend each week because I was just learning so much and so much was new to me that I wanted to discuss it with somebody. So we are going through the sermon series on Matthew and discussing them. And it's just been great to have somebody to talk about those things with. And I also started listening to Tim Keller. We've talked about him, Mindy, and you can hear him on Gospel in Life podcast. I've just been in search of some deeper teaching than you get on Sunday morning at church. It's just, this is more, I guess, a teaching, not a sermon.
Right.
So I loved that.
And I love the idea with meeting with someone or being in some kind, it's sort of like being in a Bible study because the Bible does say, iron sharpens iron, and we are sharpened when we talk to other Christians and hear what God's doing in their life or how they interpret that scripture. It helps us. So it's really a great practice if you can find time in your week or your month, even just to meet with somebody.
Right.
All right, you guys. Well, I have loved this discussion. I have loved talking about healthy living, and I'm sure there are so many more topics that we could have hit on within this broader topic. We would love to hear about some things that you do to practice healthy living, whether it's diet, exercise, spiritually, in your home. If you have any tips on how to have a happy evening routine when you have teenagers in sports, I am all ears. So we would love to hear from you guys. You can contact us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com or find us on Instagram. We would love to interact and hear what you guys are doing for healthy living. But before we go, we want to do our I'm a Fan. Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a fan of a product called Leather Honey. It is a leather conditioner. Our leather furniture we bought probably 10 years ago. It's been moved several times, but in this previous move, it got just completely neglected and abused. So when our leather furniture showed up at our house, we were just sickened by how terrible it looked. And some of the movers said, well, it looks like they just left it out in the sun for a while. Like It was scratched up. It was a lot lighter. And so they said, if it sat out in the sun for any length of time, that would have happened. Either way, it was neglected, sat in a storage unit for 3 months. So I started looking on Amazon for a product that I could condition this leather furniture, and I could not believe the difference. I feel like I saved us thousands of dollars with, wanting to replace this leather furniture because I thought I was going to have to get rid of it, and I just felt sick about it. So this gave me my furniture back, and it looks so much better.
Really?
And this product did not cost that much. I want to say it was like $15.
Yes. Well, do you have before and afters?
I do have before and afters, so we can post those.
Yes.
And I'm still because mine was so neglected, I had to do several coats of this leather conditioner, but made a huge difference.
I have a leather couch that is, I believe, 17 years old, and I bet it could just stand some conditioning. I think it might bring it back to life a little bit.
Apparently, leather is like skin, and it needs to be moisturized and conditioned. And I think I put lotion on my hands after every time I wash them. My leather furniture's been neglected for 10 years.
Yes. No, that's great. We'll definitely put a link to Leather Honey in the show notes. All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
I have over 50,000 pictures on my phone.
Oh,
50,000.
that is a ton.
But one of the things that I discovered was with Amazon Prime, you get free photo storage unlimited. Did not know that.
And what is it, like stored in a cloud somewhere with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unlimited though.
That's amazing.
And so I thought, we're always going to have Prime. Already pay for it, and I haven't been using it. So you have to get the app.
Oh.
I can share it with 5 family members, and they could send and upload pictures to it. So once again, Molly could upload baby pictures to it, and people can share. And I don't even think they have to have it. I think it's just that I have it.
All right, I have a question. So I hate downloading my pictures because then I'm like, but if I need it, then it's going to be hard to go and get it like off the laptop again. So if you put it in this app, can you still access it?
It looks just like it does in your photos.
Oh my gosh!
Yes,
but it frees up though your phone's like memory.
Yeah. So I haven't deleted them on my phone yet because I'm getting some help with my pictures this week. And I know that the lady that I'm talking to said she does back them up in more than one place. So before I delete anything, I'm going to make sure everything is backed up multiple ways, like on a hard drive or something. But I thought that was pretty cool. And if you order photo books, you get the free shipping. And I think there's coupons. So you can make your books. You can order prints right from there.
Amazon's taking over the world, you guys.
Pretty much.
I know. When I told my kids that I was doing this, I said, and it's free. You can put all your photos up there. And they said, of course you can, Mom. Like they want all your photos.
They want you to. Yeah.
They want to see your face. And
you're going to start getting advertisements for pillow covers and like things that you've taken pictures of.
I don't care.
All right. Well, this week I am a fan of something that our listeners may be happy to hear about. So way back in our first or so episode of the year, we talked about things we want to try in 2019. And I had said that I wanted to make Joanna Gaines squash soup. Yes. And then I think we proceeded to talk about that on like the next 3 episodes, just little snippets on whether I'd done it, how difficult it was. Basically, it boiled down to the fact that it was a little more work than my usual meal. And my family didn't rave about it. So I didn't feel like it was worth the extra work. But I was in Trader Joe's the other night. Trader Joe's makes their own organic butternut squash soup. It's low sodium, which I processed soups I feel like are always usually really high in sodium.
Right.
And it's just the Trader Joe's brand. I loved it. And it just comes in like kind of like a chicken broth soft container, so you just pour it into the saucepan. For a 32-ounce carton, you guys, it was $2.99.
What?
Wow.
Yes, and you just literally pour it into the saucepan. So last night we had grilled cheese and this butternut squash soup. It was the perfect kind of fall meal, and I just could not believe how cheap and easy it was compared to me making it myself. So if you have a Trader Joe's near you, go ahead and check out their organic butternut squash soup. I'll put a picture on our Instagram stories this week. But yes, so much easier. I will not be making Joanna Gaines' recipe again because I'm just not that great of a cook. I don't like to put in so much effort, but I do like to pour things out of a carton.
Yes. There you go. Well, and how much cheaper is that? I mean, you would spend a lot more in ingredients making it from scratch.
That's true. All right. So this is what we're a fan of this week, listeners. And we'd love to hear what you guys are fans of. If you've ever used any of these things that we've talked about, or you just want more information, go ahead and contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you guys would go on iTunes and review our podcast, that would help us out so much. That does help other listeners find us. And share us with a friend. If you love Midlife Matters, chances are you know someone else that would. Show them how to download a podcast on their phone, and they will thank you for it. All right, guys, we will talk to you next week.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye. We're so glad you joined us today. If you're a fan of Midlife Matters, please tell a friend and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. We also hope that you'll follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. This is where you can see the things that we talk about on each episode, and we'd love the chance to get to know you better in the comments. You can also contact us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday.